July 17th, 1985. Today's Gene Shalit sat down with Harpo's son William upon the reissue of the autobiography Harpo Speaks. And not only did William talk about how Harpo actually spoke, but he brought along home movies.
Harpo Marx was the silent Marx brother, whom critic Alexander Woollcott called the funniest man I ever saw on the stage. A honking horn, funny facial expressions, and physical gestures were the ways Harpo communicated, but he could be funnier and more eloquent than the noisiest comedian. Here's an example, a brief one of course, with brothers Chico and Groucho from their classic film Duck Soup. That was the public Harpo Marx, but there was also a private side to the man born Adolph Marx on East 93rd Street, New York City in the year 1893. Joining me this morning is Bill Marx, the eldest of Harpo's 4 children. The occasion is the new edition of Harpo Marx's autobiography called, appropriately, Harpo Speaks, written 3 years before Harpo's death in 1964. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Gene.
I have never heard, and most people have never heard, Harpo's speech. What did he sound like? Can you describe that?
Well, he had a very soft-spoken way. He would say words like turkey would come out, turkey, hamburger, liver waste. Oil became Earl.
He was a New Yorker, all right.
You bet.
Was he funny at home?
He was a wonderfully magical man at home. He did wonderful things as a mature, intelligent person, and he was also a child. He would bring back his childhood by sitting in front of the television set every afternoon, Monday through Friday, at 5:15, watching his favorite television show of all time, which was a show called Time for Beanie. It was a hand puppet show. And his favorite character, probably ever, was Cecil the Seasick Sea Serpent.
He was very good at taking home movies. We have a lot of home movies that you have very graciously provided to us. While we look at them, you can speak and tell us what we're seeing. There he is without his wig.
Well, he's up in Vancouver on a fishing trip, and there he's in England working with a young lady who worked the British vaudeville circuit with him. There's Susan, his wife, and my wonderful mother, and and Alexander Woollcott was in that picture.
Strut.
Now that's something, isn't it?
Now who's that?
That's Groucho.
Of course. A young Groucho.
Picking up Billy.
Did you call him Julius or did you call him Groucho?
Uncle Groucho.
Did you really?
Yeah, and there's Harpo in the background. Now, I don't know who that is.
That's El Doggo.
Yeah.
Did you call him Groucho and Chico, or did you call him Leonard and Julius?
We called him Uncle Groucho.
Uncle Groucho.
Uncle Chico, yeah.
What were they like around the house?
They weren't around very often. They usually all convened at Hillcrest Country Club in Los Angeles. That's where they had their social life as they grew to have family, you see. And so they spent no time at anybody else's house. They got sick of each other by the time the day ended at Hillcrest.
Well, if this were written on the side of a book, they would call it a blur, but I have to say something. We get a lot of books on this program. Harpo Speaks is an extraordinary book because it is so funny and because it is an evocation of an era that is absolutely gone. The 1920s and 30s and 40s of movies in Hollywood, it is all in that book. And in conclusion, which should make you laugh.
That was his favorite expression.
That was his favorite expression.
Come down to breakfast in the morning, the first thing out of his mouth was, and in conclusion.
Roland Barber wrote it, Limelight Editions printed, and I don't mind giving it all of that because Harpo Speaks is a wonderful, joyous book. Thanks very much for being with us and for giving us those home movies.
My pleasure.